I'm Tesseract and welcome to another Odyssey video about DLC 6 Home Turf. Mitchell has already uploaded a video about the base design and how you can modify that. This video should be going into most of the rest of the content, the open world content, the new instances and the bounties and things like that. So to kick things off, let's have a look at the feats. There are two new kinds of feats. Base feats, which are obviously not a part of the actual DLC, and the DLC feats themselves. The base feats just seem to be collection feats, like you would get with style sets. DLC feats, on the other hand, as you can see, there are a number of counter feats and a couple of instance-specific feats. We haven't actually run all of this content yet, so we don't know exactly what all of these feats do. But you can see the descriptions for most of them here. Complete the exterior missions feats. There are two exterior missions for heroes and two for villains. One of them, at the location of at the moment, is Ace Chemicals for heroes. And you have to run these exterior missions 5 times. It's a daily lockout. In order to get into the instance. Now, we haven't actually had enough days to run those just yet, so we don't have any footage of inside the instances. But as you can see here, you just come to Ace Chemicals and you can pick up the wanted bounty poster missions. Those are for second generation monobots. We can see more on that later in the video. And then you can come over and pick up the missions for the exterior content. You can have a look at the gear here. Unattuned, which is nice, but we can't see the styles obviously, or any of the stats for them. Just to come back to those lenses there, that's a item level 73 face item, which should be a nice upgrade from the Central City roll sets. So as you can see here, the mission that we've got at the moment is to defeat 3 different kinds of chemoids. As you saw on the feat list, there are a number of different missions that you can do, and it seems to be quite random what ones you actually get given. And again, according to the feat list, you're going to need to complete all of them to get the feat, so that might take some time. You will, however, be able to reset the content and do it multiple times, although that feature has been disabled for the test server. So the one that we're doing at the moment, as you can see, we've got these 3 different kinds of chemoids, of which we need to kill 2 of each. They're actually pretty tough. You don't really want to be aggroing huge numbers of these mobs. Obviously, myself and Mitchell here are doing this as a healer and troller combo. Later on, you should be able to see me doing it as a DPS alone. But it's pretty simple. You just defeat the chemoids. Defeated the 2 cryo ones, the ones that you see in blue, and you should be able to move on to the others as soon as Mitch stops killing the cryo. You can see there a green that's uncollected. That is a new one. There are new sets of briefings and investigations, and in fact collections as well, to be picked up with this DLC. So we're coming over just to the shock chemoids over here. We don't need to watch all of this, so we should hopefully start skipping through the video. these scientists and lieutenants aren't quite as tough as the chemoids themselves, but again, you don't really want to be dragging huge numbers of them, particularly if you're doing it on your own. Now, one of the things people are most interested in for this new DLC is the items that you get from the dispensers. Now here's Mitch showing off the orbital cannon. That's Mitch in healer role at the moment, so that was a fair amount of damage done there. And I'm going to see the supply drop. Mitch just letting himself get injured a little bit so that the effect can be shown. We think you have to stand around these balls on the floor in order to get the effects, and they give off, as Mitch showed in his video, there's healing effects, power restoration effects, and that all depends on what level you've got it at. So once you've killed all 6 of the chemoids, you can come back. Most of the missions seem to be 2-stage missions. You come back and talk again, and you'll be given an extra mission to complete. In this case, finding a green chemling. Took us a little while to find it, but when you've got specific mobs like this, they usually indicate the one that you need by the little lightning bolt above its head. This is fairly simple. Defeat the mob once, activate it, turns into the unstable version, and it's not much of an increase in its stats or anything. It takes a little bit longer to go down. But once it does, that is the end of the exterior quest. You fly back to the hazmat officer that you spoke to begin with, and hand it in and get your reward. As I said, you do that 5 times over 5 different days, and you will be able to get access to the instance. We don't have any footage of that, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll be able to get that to you soon. These supply boxes that we get seem to contain marks of war and about 500 cash. We haven't seen anything else come out of those just yet. So this is a villain character. This is out of the villain area in Steelworks Scraps. Again, villains have got the 2 areas. Heroes have got Ace Chemicals and Strikers Island. Villains have got Steelworks, and I'm not sure where their second area is actually. But again, it's the same process. You talk to the robots, and there was actually in the back there was the bounty poster, but because I get a lot of lag on the test server, it wasn't showing up properly. So this mission was to hack these terminals. So you just have to make sure you've got a clear area before you actually approach the terminals. It was at roughly this point in this that I realised I had set up my loadout wrong, so I thought what better time to show off the orbital strike. I think I was fairly well spec'd for damage here, tier 4 gear and mods, although I didn't have tier 4 weapon, rings, necklace, that sort of thing. So that's not the full extent of the damage that you would do, but it was the fully upgraded cannon and mostly tier 4 gear. Now this is one of the new investigations that we get. They seem to be scattered across all of the areas. So there are some on Arkham Island, there are some around Ace Chemicals, there's some around Strikers Island, and there's some here at Steelworks. Showing off the minions this time. There seem to be a couple of different styles for the minions. I think you get different styles for each type of layer that you've got. We've only got the Gothic and the Deco layers at the moment, So those were the two options you could pick for how your minions would look. These guys, I think this is a gothic style for these minions. I think I preferred it if they had different styles for each of them, but they don't. I thought there was a console up here, but it turned out there was just a distress citizen, and I don't get to be villainous nearly often enough. You can say what you want about the villain side, but they certainly get the best daily acts of villainy. So again, this is just find your different consoles marked on the map by a white dot, activate them. Once you've done 5 of them, and you move to the second part of the quest. You don't have to return to the starting point for this one. You just move straight to the location, and I think there's a hero one like this as well. You just have to defend this console. I think this could probably be quite hard if you don't have very good DPS. As you can see, they're coming in. When they're coming in just on their own, they're fine. Occasionally you get 1 or 2 come in at the same time, and one of them gets stuck behind the console here, so the lag doesn't help, obviously. But you do have another orbital strike if you feel it's absolutely necessary. And when isn't it, really? That second one there was actually part of the same activation of the orbital strike. Once that's complete, it's just again back to the starting area, talk to the robot again, and you've completed the quest. Just to show you briefly the feats that the villains get, they all seem fairly similar to the heroes. Slight differences for the instance feats and the bounties, but otherwise it all looks much the same. The next thing we're going to show you is the Lair PvP. This seems like it could be quite a lot of fun. I quite like the way they've set it up. Again, you have to excuse the test server lag. You get that cutscene as you come in. This is my lair that we're in at the moment, and what you can almost see in the cutscene is that Mitchell's kicking in the door and coming in, and I was racing off to fight him. So this is my not very well decorated lair, suffering quite a lot of lag. You can see at the top there's the timer, and this is round 1. It can go to 5, and at the end of each round you get a cutscene. The cutscenes are really cool because they seem to be showing you fighting through your lair. It's not just all at the start. You're moving from one location to another. So we see Mitch here panicking a little bit, deciding to throw out a orbital strike. It should be noted that neither of us are in PvP gear at the moment. This is us in our standard PvE gear. Just retaliating a little bit there. Throwing up the supply drop. Was surprised at how low damage that the orbital strike actually did in PvP. It seems to be fairly effective in PvE, but as long as you're blocking through it, still a hefty hit, but not quite as bad as I expected. That was the end of round 2, and on to round 3 of a possible 5. So that's a feat that you get for winning a battle. I don't think it has to be in your own lair, it's just winning at one lair PvP battle. Getting the arena supply box and the supplemental box. This is the lair of the Dreadwolf, as was shown off in the previous video that we did. Dread spent a considerable amount of time decorating the place with the items that were received from the boxes on the test server. It's kind of looking a lot more homey for a Dreadwolf, that is. And what I'm showing you this for is we're about to do another lair PvP, and this is just to show you how some of the items will disappear. The ones that have been free placed will not show up in the lair PvP. Only the ones that have been placed on a node actually show up. I'm invading this time as well, so we get to see the point of view of the invader coming in through the door. And we're also going to let this go the full 5 rounds this time and show off all of the animations that they've done for the end of the rounds, which we didn't do before. It was only a 3-round event. If you're wondering why it's having so much bother hitting me, it's got a bug where you can't target the opponent, which, as you can imagine, is very annoying in PvP. So you can see as we move through the lair that some of the items are not here anymore. The sofa behind you used to be an extra one there. Some of the dividers from the edges of the landings. But everything that is here is in fact destructible. So we have the extra animations now as we move up through the floors of the lair. I really like the animations that they're doing. It's really nice to see your own characters in a cutscene type thing. I think that was always one of the better things about the operations. So again, on the top floor here you can see a lot of what was up here before has been removed. The dividers especially have gone. It's just a lot emptier than it was before. So that's the 5-round lair PvP. You can't choose who you fight against, and you can't choose if it's in your lair or their lair. So it's just potluck for that. Last thing we're going to show you is one of the new bounties. This is the hero bounty, 2nd generation Modobot. There are a number of different kinds of them. This is a black one. He seems to have electricity-like powers. We've seen a blue one, which seems to be kind of frost one, and a green one, which I can't remember what that one was, and a yellow one as well, I think. We've been joined by Exington here. We were a bit short-staffed doing this video. We didn't have a tank available for us. We just shouted out in the new Looking for Group channel, and Exington kindly replied. So thanks to him for helping out here. The new LFG channels look like they're going to be really useful. They don't quite go global, but they go out if you're in a safe house or the Watchtower, any of the police stations, you're in the same LFG channel. For these bounties then, there's two main attacks that they do that you need to watch out for. The first is you'll get a glow around your feet, and it'll appear around everybody in the group's feet. As you can see here, shortly after which you'll get a damage spike in a small AoE. It's not a huge amount of damage. If you've got a healer shield up or a tank shield up, then they should be able to shield you from all of the damage. If you're only hit by one. However, if you're in a group with other people, if you're all standing beside each other, you will take damage from every single hit, and that can easily wipe the whole team out. So that's something to avoid. That's why we're staying so spread out here. It's also one of the best areas for this. The island itself, there's lots of rocks everywhere, lots of trees everywhere. This was actually one of the best spots that we found. It's a nice open area, there's no trees in the way, it's all relatively flat. You can spread out and not really worry about losing line of sight or anything. What we found when we were fighting some of the other ones was that we would just have massive problems with line of sight. We'd spend some time trying to pull the bounty into a better spot, but it can definitely cause some issues if you're not in a good area. The second attack that he'll do, he'll shoot off onto the air, as shown, and he'll choose a random person, fly down beside them, and then do a whirlwind. If you know to look for it, then it's really easy to just to get out of the way of the whirlwind. If you do get caught in it, it does quite a lot of damage, so you really need to just hold block and hope your healers can get you through it. But as I say, it's quite easy to see it coming. It's not a very quick attack. He telegraphs it, he just disappears, and you know to look out from near you, and just be prepared to either move or block through it. As you can see in the chat tab there, we started doing this fight with only a few minutes before the server was being shut down, so we were in a bit of a rush to finish it. Hopefully in the next couple of days we might get another video up showing off some of the other bounties and the instances inside Ace Chemicals and Strikers Island, and just doing any other bits that we've missed. So if you've got anything you want us to test out and show, then give us a shout in the comments and we'll see what we can do. So thanks again to Exington for his help with this bounty, and if you've got any questions, let us know.